Welcome to The Beauty Shift, proudly sponsored by Karenique.
For thicker, fuller hair at every age and every stage of a woman's life.
I'm Michelle Phillips.
I'm a celebrity stylist and beauty expert, a national TV personality, and self-confidence coach. And over the years, I've worked with some of the most recognized faces in the world, helping them look and feel their absolute best inside and out.
That ultimate inner outer wow. Now that's true beauty, my friends.
Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to The Beauty Shift. I'm your host, Michelle Phillips, and today we're diving into a really interesting topic. We're going to talk about how the stories we tell ourselves shape the way we show up in the world, how it affects how we feel about our lives, how we look, and ultimately affects our confidence. And my guest today is a woman whose work has helped generations of women rewrite what beauty really means. She's an acclaimed best-selling author, a sought-after speaker, and a master storyteller who brings women's struggles, strengths, and triumphs to life in powerful, relatable, and unforgettable ways. And she's very near and dear to my heart. Not only do I consider her a very close friend, she has helped me bring my book, The Beauty Blueprint, into the world. So please welcome the brilliant, insightful, and always inspiring Ginger Garrett to the show. Ginger, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here. I love you.
I love you too. This is going to be a love fest. I can feel it coming.
Yeah. And you just attract awesome women into your circle. So, yeah, I hope I can connect with lots of them.
Oh, well, you are awesome yourself. And we've been friends for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And how we met is when I got the book deal at Hay
Mm-hmm.
House. Actually, it was prior to that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
My literary agent said, you should meet Ginger because I really wanted help writing my book
Mm-hmm.
because I love to write. But what I think a lot of people don't realize when you sit down to write a book, sometimes it's difficult to organize the way that
Mm-hmm.
it should flow.
Right.
Sometimes it's difficult to know how much you want to really go in depth about a certain topic. And so, you being a best-selling author, an award-winning author, you made it so much easier for me. And I think a lot of people feel like, oh, if you hire a ghostwriter, they're just going to write your whole book for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when we worked together, you were so awesome because you would say, okay, share this a little bit more, elaborate on
Mm-hmm.
this a little bit more. And so I'd write
Mm-hmm.
about it, or you would write as
Mm-hmm.
we sat for 2 days together
Yeah.
and just kind of went through the entire book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'd love to share kind of the process we went through
Sure.
off the top, because I feel like there's so many people that want to write a book, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's to
You're
be
right.
shared on a large scale, or sometimes people just want to write a book just because they want to share it with their family.
Right.
Um, how important do you feel it is for your role to help guide an author?
It's almost like being a midwife. Like you have the baby and it's yours, but the process of giving birth, whether it's to a real baby or a book baby, it's really overwhelming. And it helps to have somebody just telling you when to breathe and when to push. And so what I do a lot of times, if someone tells me they want to write a book, but maybe they don't want to hire a ghostwriter, what I tell them is, and this is something that Anne Lamott, the spiritual writer, does a lot. She's so funny. She keeps index cards with her at all times. And if you have a thought, you're out and you say, oh, I want to remember to tell this story or say this, you just jot it on the index card and you just start collecting them. And then when the point comes, you feel like, I think I've put everything on an index card that I want to say. You can literally clear your kitchen table, put all the index cards out, and start, the game that we used to play as kids, matching. You can think, okay, so this is this chapter, this is this chapter. It's a really easy way to give yourself some structure without all that pressure.
It can be so overwhelming and feel
Right.
um daunting, like just getting
Yeah.
into the process. And
Right.
sometimes the chapters that you have in
Mhm.
mind may not be where you end up.
One of the things I do is sometimes publishers will ask me to look at a manuscript and tell them if I think it's a viable product. And there was one that was a really special manuscript to the publisher. It was a woman that had endured a terrible, terrible tragedy in her life. And as I read the manuscript, I realized she had written the book um, as she had lived it. But the difficulty is there's a point where you're writing for yourself, and then there's a point where you're writing for the reader. And you have to go in after you've got everything on the page and say, how would someone feel when they read this? Are they going to feel like I really got value for that 5 minutes I spent on that page? That's a really tough part of the publishing process, is realizing that after we get it all on paper, we have to turn around then and pretend we're the reader and ask ourselves, what value does this bit of the story bring?
When we were writing the Beauty Blueprint, my book,
Hmm.
when we first met, it was so fun because
I
you're just
still use that, you know.
you do.
The all the tips that you give, I still use it always.
Aw, and that's
Yeah.
what was so helpful for me is that you helped me put them in order
Hmm.
to where it was a process that I take
Right.
women through.
Hmm.
Because a lot of people come to me for beauty advice,
Right.
and you really got the message that I was trying to get across. And this was years ago, way before the inner beauty
Hmm.
thing was popular.
Right.
That I was talking about, it's I can do all of this outer stuff for you.
Hmm.
I can teach you how to do
Yeah.
all the beauty tricks. But
Right.
if you don't feel good about who you are, it doesn't
Hmm.
matter. And as
Yeah.
women who go through a process of really discovering who they are and what they truly want,
Hmm.
according to who they are, once they
Yeah.
really rediscover that,
Yeah.
rather than what society dictates, what your family,
Yeah.
thinks you should do. And then how do you create that life according to who you
Hmm.
are? And then what happens when you start that process? You feel scared because
Yeah.
change,
Yeah.
like stops you dead in your tracks a lot of
Yeah.
times. So you overcome
Hmm.
the fear and you start to really make those changes. And women just, their confidence level soars. A lot of times they
Hmm.
lose weight, they start looking younger just as a
Hmm.
byproduct before they even
Right.
start the outer beauty part of it. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
I felt like you really helped me bring that to life because it's it's in my head and in my heart, but how do you put that on paper sometimes and tell the stories of
Right.
women in each situation that I have coached and
Hmm.
changed their lives? How do you tell their story without revealing who they actually are?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
I mean, there's an art form to that. It's not easy, but you really, I felt like you were just the perfect person, because you exude that love and confidence inside. And I think we're all a work in progress, but you just have so much light and so much
Well,
heart in everything you do. I mean, it's incredible.
well, we work well together. I was reflecting before I was getting ready for the podcast about what is it about Michelle that's really so different than I've worked with all sorts of people. And the one thing that really stands out and makes you so different, and this is why I think anything you do will be a success, is you have a generosity of heart that I don't see a lot. And we know generous, we think generous people, they give you money. You give your heart. I mean, you're so loving, and you want the best for anyone that crosses your path. That's a really unusual trait, and that really comes through in all the things you do.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Ginger. Now you make
Yeah.
me cry. I think that you're the same way. We mirror each other.
Yeah,
We both
maybe.
have, yeah. I mean, both of us have worked with women,
Hmm.
um, who have overcome extreme difficulties. And you and
Hmm.
I together, I mean, we've both shared our personal stories. Each of us have had our own challenges, and
Hmm.
I feel as if, it's a calling
Hmm.
to help people. This is something bigger than us. I know you're the
Right.
same way. We don't feel if
Yeah.
this is not about me, there's someone above going, you're here to do this. So it's like every day I wake up and be like, okay, how can I serve? How can I help others? And
Right.
you're the same exact way. And when you and I met and you were talking about how you've worked with women,
Hmm.
um, who have been imprisoned and
Yep.
in countries that are very
Yeah.
impoverished, and the
Oh,
things
yeah.
that women have suffered. I mean, it's just there's just a focus on in our hearts on helping women.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you, I was in a third world country, and there was a language barrier, and I was at a women's prison speaking. Well, how do you speak when there's no common language? And the group of women I was with, we came up with this idea. We put labels on pieces of paper and we stuck them with tape all over someone who stood on stage. And then we slowly peeled the labels off. And we were, literally just sort of acting out that this is what, peel that label off and this is who you can be. There was even the prison guards were crying. And I've done that same exercise with homeless women, with women who are in an adult industry. I am amazed that every single one of us has a label that we carry inside that's causing us pain.
Such a
Yeah.
shame, fear. I mean, what are
Yeah.
some of the things that you used as labels?
Oh, yeah. Are you asking like the
Yeah,
labels oh, yeah, it was shame, it was fear. The crazy part is when you ask women, what are the labels that you carry? The most beautiful, stunning women will have labels that will just shock your boots off. Like you think, how could you think that about yourself, right?
right.
But it goes to show you that the words that we speak over someone and to someone, you never know when those will have a lifelong impact.
Oh, isn't that the truth? That
Yeah.
is so true. I think the words that we speak to ourselves
Mm-hmm.
are constantly beating us up no matter how much I do the
Mm-hmm.
work, because I really work hard on my internal dialogue. And I've learned a lot from Louise Hay. I learned a
Mm-hmm.
lot from working with you. Every thought think, every word you speak creates
Mm-hmm.
your reality.
Yeah.
And yet a lot of times some of the inner dialogue is not coming from ourselves. It's
Mm-mm.
coming from someone who said something to us when we were younger, or it could
Mm-hmm.
even be recently,
Right.
that we carry and we take on
Mm-hmm.
everybody and what they think, and then
Yeah.
it even forms in how we feel about ourselves. And that's why I was so excited to talk to you today, because it's really about the stories, right? The story that we talk about
Yeah.
internally, and
Mm-hmm.
also that we talk about openly externally, that the
Right.
words that come out of our mouth. um,
Mm-hmm.
how do you help women in that area?
Even when we were working on the beauty blueprint, you had this exercise where we look at our clothes. And Marie Kondo wants us to ask, does this spark joy? But what you did, and this still sticks with me, is ask yourself more like, is this about an image I'm trying to project? Or is this really who I am? Is this my color? Not, is this the color that so and so likes, but is this my color? How do I feel in, oh my goodness,
It's a game changer. Even when
it
trying
is.
on clothes, if you don't
Hmm.
absolutely feel fabulous,
Right.
don't buy it. And
Yeah.
that's not easy, because to feel fabulous in an outfit is not always the case. You got to go through a lot. I have one particular girlfriend that's my neighbor here who I absolutely adore. She has the coolest style, and she wears these really super cute dresses with funky shoes, and I just think, that is Chris. When I see her, she rocks who she is because she's got her own personal style. And many of us are not are too afraid to be that, to do that, or even know where to start. And so in the book, like, take people through the process, which you really helped me explain, of really, how do I figure out what my personal style is, and then rock who you are. And that it's fun, or find someone that will help you. I love, really going back to the storytelling aspect too,
Hmm.
because you're just so amazing at it. How do you see people's stories, or their, I don't even want to say that it's a story, for example, that you're particularly writing. I think
Hmm.
we're all creating our own story at all times.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Right.
how are our stories shaping our lives?
It's a great question. Well, so my great great grandfather, I never met him, but I have the stories. I know how he lived. I know the silly things he did. I don't know exactly what he looked like. And it's really helpful to remember that someday all I'm going to be is a story. And I have generations ahead that I will never meet. And all they will know about me are the stories. They won't know if I had cellulite. I do. And they won't know the color of my hair, anything. They'll just know how I reacted or responded in any given situation. So, one thing that is a good metric for me when I'm having a hard decision to make is what's the story that I want someone to tell about this?
I
And,
love
you
that.
know, I teach creative writing for middle schoolers. They're so great. They're very honest. And one thing we always talk about is when you're reading a book, if you need to know who the hero is versus the villain will always be the person that's willing to sacrifice anyone to get what they want. But the hero or the heroine will always be the person that's willing to sacrifice themselves to help someone else. So it's really you're going to sacrifice somebody in a story. So is it going to be
Right.
you and you're going to change the world, or are you going to hurt someone? That's the difference.
Right. And
Mhm.
how do you strike that balance? Right? Like, because how
As
do we
women,
be
yeah.
the heroine without
Mhm.
sacrificing ourselves? Do
Well,
you
if you
struggle
think
with that in writing
I
as well as?
do. And I
Mhm.
think and I think when we've done focus groups with women, and publishers love to do focus groups, I really can see clearly that women have a very hard time seeing themselves as the heroine. Men, not so much. They can see themselves as the hero. I think the reason why women, we're conditioned to sacrifice for others all the time, but no one ever told us that made us the heroine. We are walking around changing lives in little bitty ways all the time. It's really a profound thing when we look at women, who are caregivers in any capacity or put their
Mhm.
shopping cart back. That's a moment of sacrificing for others. You just entered the hero club.
Absolutely. I just interviewed Emma Willis, Bruce Willis's wife, and she's talking a lot about that right now with caregiving. It's not okay to completely sacrifice yourself. Like, you've got to find help, and it's so important that we ask for help and we reach out for support because we're so used to taking care of other people. We don't allow others to help us.
It's so hard, but I took dinner to a friend of mine who had two or three knee surgeries like all at once.
Oh,
And she does not like getting help. But it made me so happy to cook favorite foods. And I think, oh my goodness, please don't deprive me of this. People who love you want to take care of you. Oh, so you just have to ask and ask specifically, like I really need dinner on Wednesday. And people love to show up.
exactly. It's so
Yeah.
hard to do, but it's so
Yeah.
important. As you said, you're giving others a gift by allowing
Hmm.
them to help you because we all want to help those
Right.
in need. And a lot of times I feel as women, we get really upset when people don't help us, but we're not asking for it, right? Like, people are supposed to read our minds, like your husband. Yeah. Like, "What's wrong with you?" Nothing." And then you're thinking, "Well, you could help me, but are you saying it?" You know? Do we really speak that?
I'm so guilty as charged sometimes, but there's a charity that I work with, just volunteer, and all they do. I think this is amazing. Their name is Promise 686, and one of their main things is when a family decides to foster a child, they put a team of volunteers around that family that bring them meals, that run errands, that shop for the kids' clothes. They have found that when families have that support, they will go on to foster. If a family doesn't have support, most of them stop after a year.
Interesting. Wow.
So, the idea of getting support for all the things that we think, oh, I could never ask someone to do that, it makes a huge difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Oprah Winfrey always says it takes a village.
Yeah,
that she would never, ever be where she is without an entire team of people. And
right,
it's true. I feel like
right.
even with raising children, if I didn't have the support around me that I had, I probably
Oh, for
wouldn't have been
sure.
as good of a mom.
Oh,
It's
mm-mm. No.
it's really
Yeah.
important.
And we're in the age of the internet, thank goodness. So, I mean, you can have anybody in the world speaking to you. I mean, there are podcasts and there's YouTube. I felt like I had so many lies that I believed growing up about being a woman and about myself that for years I just needed that constant stream of truth. Someone speaking into my life. Obviously, they don't know me, but they're speaking into my life about here's what's true and here's where you aim in life. And oh my goodness, that is an incredible blessing.
I just want to take a quick moment to thank our amazing sponsor, Keranique, the go-to brand for women's hair growth solutions. If you're looking for healthier, thicker, more beautiful hair, no matter what hair concerns you have, Keranique has got you covered. Their products are clinically proven and dermatologist recommended, offering a complete hair care system, including treatments, shampoos, conditioners, and supplements to help you achieve stronger, fuller looking hair from the inside out. So whether you're starting your hair regrowth journey or maintaining gorgeous, healthy locks, Keranique has a solution for you. And as a Beauty Shift listener, you get 25% off site-wide. All you have to do is head over to store.keranique.com and use the code BeautyShift25 at checkout. Thanks again, Keranique, for supporting the Beauty Shift and helping women everywhere feel confident and beautiful. So now let's get back to the show. When you're creating
Hmm.
stories and content, um, how is it now that people are consuming in terms of, let's specifically women?
Hmm.
What do you really feel is resonating with women today? And what are they looking for in terms of books and writing? And I
Hmm.
know a lot more book reading is not as common now.
Hmm.
How has that all changed?
So many women are looking to get fed, emotionally and spiritually when they're entertained. And I think in the past, maybe it was more entertainment driven, but these days I see women are really hungry to be fed on multiple levels, not just distracted from our lives. We want to show up better.
You see shows, I'm just thinking in terms of television shows as you were sharing stories, because, books become shows. I don't know in this case
Hmm.
if it did, but like Virgin River.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's, even men like it, but it's
Yeah.
it's a feel good
Hmm.
story. It's inspirational. You can see yourself
Yeah.
in the characters. You can
Yeah.
see yourself
Yeah.
in different scenarios, but it also there's takeaways
Hmm. And
that make you feel good.
sometimes when I'm talking to the middle schoolers, we talk about there's a kind of a classic structure to a lot of different books and movies. And one of the moments that you almost always see in any kind of story arc is what we call the all is lost. And it's the moment when, oh, it's all fallen apart. There's no hope. There's no way forward. And that to me has really helped me live my life because, sometimes I've had my all is lost moment, but knowing that there's a rhythm to a story has helped me hang on just a little bit longer.
So
Yeah.
I love where you're going, how the
Yeah.
storytelling, associates to our
Yeah.
life.
It's popular right now, I think, to see the semicolon tattoos from people wanting to remind their friends that don't put a period at the end of this sentence. It's a semicolon. Something else is coming.
It's so true. It's this like life.
Mhm.
Like you said, this is not a period. This is not the end.
Right.
And how do
Yeah.
we want to rewrite or change our stories?
Oh my goodness. Yes. And when we're reading a story or we're watching a story, our brains are interacting as if we're actually experiencing it. Like if you're in a horror movie, your heart literally will beat faster. So your brain is having that experience. So when we're in those moments with those characters, I think it's super therapeutic because when we are seeing someone you really dislike on the screen or on the page, but then it shifts so many times in my own life, I've thought, wow, I wonder how this story is going to shift with, so and so that's driving me crazy.
Yes. And to kind of just let go and allow rather than trying to shape and mold our story so much. There's that part of it too, to where it's like, no, I want it to look like this, and I'm not going to stop until it does. But we don't have that type of control in our lives, right? And we make ourselves crazy trying to make those things happen instead of just saying, let me just allow this to open up and in my mind and my heart and say, okay, let me trust that everything will work out as it's supposed to be.
Right. I remember years ago when I was a newlywed, and I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, but I was pregnant, but I was in a car accident and we lost the pregnancy. And then the doctors came in the room and said that I would never be able to have children. And I remember, of course, being devastated. And I came home,
Mm.
and someone had put in like my feed this book, Taking Charge of Your Fertility. And it made me so mad because I thought, if I could take charge of my fertility, I wouldn't be in this situation. And that's, I think, lesson one for me was that day when I realized, wow, I can't take charge. I don't have any control.
Yeah, and now you have three
Yeah.
beautiful children.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, in that season of life, I decided that, okay, I told myself I believe in God and I believe that God, you know, has the capacity to change any story into something good. I thought, okay, so I'm going to tell myself, whether I believe it or not, that I'm going to be just as happy living childless as I would be with a house full of children. And I'm going to volunteer I volunteered with all sorts of nursery programs and kids programs because I thought I'm going to have kids one way or the other. Maybe I'm just going to be a mentor. Maybe I'm going to be the world's greatest babysitter. But I just went out and I got involved in life and I did life. And it made the journey, even though there were still some really painful moments, it made it so vibrant and full of life for me. And I wasn't suffering alone.
That's beautiful, Ginger.
Yeah.
So I think a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
times we turn into victimhood.
Yeah.
We go
Oh,
towards
yes.
victimhood and say, well, woe is
Mhm.
me. I'm never going to have kids. And so
Yes.
instead, turning it around and
Mhm.
making, good of it. And then what happens?
Yeah. Oh, I
It's like you
remember.
manifested those babies. Your higher
Yeah.
power, God said,
Yeah.
"Oh, she wants
Yeah.
this. It's gonna
Well, I
happen."
remember every time I would see a pregnant woman, I would get so mad. And I would say over and over, look what she has that I don't. It became a constant refrain. And one day, I do not know how it happened. One day, a new question popped in my head. I looked at a pregnant woman and I said, what does she need that I have?
Mm.
And when I realized every woman I encounter needs something, and I probably have it, it might just be a word of encouragement, it might be a smile, I might need to help them carry their groceries. But when you look at women as companions and not competitors, it changed everything. I let go of a lot of resentment.
It's so beautiful. And
Yeah.
I agree. A lot of times when I'm out and about, I'll just
Mhm.
look at any woman next to me and just
Mhm.
compliment them.
Yeah.
Something about them. "Oh,
Yeah.
I love your hair or your outfit or
Yeah.
your eyes," or
Mhm.
whatever, because it just brings a smile to their
Right?
face, and I'm sure warms them up, and I
Mhm.
just want other people to feel appreciated, even if you don't know
Yeah.
them, or if you do,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter. Just think of how, and this brings me back to the stories. What story are they living?
Oh,
I mean,
right?
how many people could use some love and encouragement right now? And from
Yeah.
strangers is even better,
Oh,
because
right.
a lot of women are just, a lot of people in general, but a lot of women listening to this show. I think a lot of women struggle even
Mhm.
more so than men. That's my opinion, but it's because we take on more,
Yeah.
and a lot of times we shove things down and just keep moving forward, and we don't
Mhm.
really talk about it when our story could be, stress, worry, fear, all the
Yeah.
things, the labels that you talked about
Yeah.
earlier. One other thing I want to talk about, you've done a lot of work and research on
Mhm.
women for many, 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 many years going back. Also, women in beauty.
Hmm.
I would love for you to share some of the things that you found fascinating in your work because of all the research you've had to do
Yeah.
writing books, correct?
Right.
Is that
Yeah.
why?
Well, one thing that really sticks with me is that throughout history, women in bigger bodies were celebrated. And because, that was construed as that's a healthy woman. Women who were in smaller bodies, that wasn't as good, particularly when we were like more of a farm nation. Like you can't carry bushels of corn, when you're super tiny. So it's interesting that women wanted to be bigger. But when the suffragette movement started, when we needed that right to vote, a group of women said, if they are not going to let us vote as women, we're going to look like men. And they began taping their bodies. And that's when the very first diet book was published and became a bestseller.
Wow.
It started as a political protest, and then it morphed into a standard of beauty that we all assume we have to, live up to. It,
Mm,
yeah,
that is so interesting.
yeah,
I did not know that. I remember you told
mhm,
me when we were writing the beauty blueprint together that a lot of the breast augmentation and a
mhm,
lot of the things women started
mhm.
doing to their bodies and in terms of not just dieting but
Right.
enhancing was due to pornography
Right.
coming into play with was it in the
Yeah.
1970s? Yeah.
Yeah. I I hate that for women because we'll never
Mhm.
look like that naturally.
No. And now even more so with social media and the media before social media was
Yeah.
really big, even with magazines, we were always we still are comparing ourselves to the images we see that aren't real. And that's something you and I talked about a lot. Because behind the scenes, I worked as a makeup artist creating these images that were not real. They were photoshopped, they were enhanced. And so we start feeling like we'll never be good enough. We'll never measure up, especially as we're aging. I'm finding that women that I'm working with now who are going through menopause are really struggling like they did in their, early teens because now that our looks are fading, we get wrinkles, our bodies don't look the same, all of a sudden we feel invisible and as if, oh, we'll never measure up. It's hard, it's very, very hard, and so it's really about undoing that and realizing that you're beautiful just the way you are and appreciating that.
There's a writer that I love named Catherine Wolfe, and she was a model in Los Angeles years ago and had a traumatic stroke in her 20s. And she lost the ability to control at least half of her face and her body. And she just said that when she was finally free, she realized she would never live up to that beauty standard again because, her body was damaged in the stroke. She said she has never felt freer. And so I think, okay, man, where am I buying into a lie and where can I get a little bit more freedom today?
Yes, I love that. Where am I buying into the lie? I was talking to a young lady yesterday who's 40, and we were talking about bodies, and I was telling her about when you hit almost 60, some things happen to your body that no matter what you do, sorry, it ain't coming back. I might look thin in these cute little Spanx in my pants, my yoga pants, but you take them off and I got a lot of jiggles, a lot of cellulite, and a lot of crepey skin. It's just the way it is. I'm never
Yeah,
going backwards, and no matter what I do or how I work out. And she
yeah.
was like, "Oh gosh, I'm always beating myself up," and she has none of that. And I said, "Please appreciate your body today,
Oh,
because
yeah.
as you age, you can look back and think, what was I thinking? Why did I just
I
talk so
know.
badly about
I
myself?"
know.
And then I look at my 80-year-old mom and she doesn't care. She is just
Yeah.
so happy to wake up every day and be alive and run circles
Right.
around me, you know?
Right.
So I love that, what you said that, Ginger.
Yeah.
Like, don't buy into this lie that you
Hmm.
have to look or be a certain way. The most beautiful woman in the room is the woman who comes in confident and
Hmm.
happy
Yeah.
and owns who she is.
Everything you said, I say yes, yes, yes. And I would say too, it's important that we mirror this for the next generation. I told my girls, I was like, look, you're going to see my skin. It's getting really crepey and I have lots of wrinkles, everything. Do not feel sad. it is such a gift for me to get older
Yep.
and spend this time with you. When you see me slow, the wheels are coming off this bus. I just need you to know I'm good with that. I'm just glad to be here with you. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
you're setting an example for them
Yeah.
because, I always said, whatever you're doing to beat yourself up and say
Yeah.
out loud, your kids
Hmm.
are paying attention. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
they're going to start beating themselves up and thinking, oh, my butt's big or this or that or the
Right.
other. And
Yeah.
as we're aging, as women, I think it's even more important to have these conversations with our daughters because especially like I'm talking a lot about perimenopause and menopause
Uh-huh.
lately and really helping women through that transition. And I went with my 26-year-old daughter. We went to Orlando for a concert and
Hmm.
we were just talking about the things that she's like, Mom, what are some of the things that women go through? And so I started talking about things and we're
Yeah.
talking not just,
Yeah.
your skin and we're
Yeah.
talking vaginal dryness. I mean, we're talking about
Right.
stuff. And she's like, wow, that happens. I'm like, yeah, that happens. But it's interesting. No one talked to me about it. And
Yeah.
so I'm thinking, why not have these conversations with our girls?
Right.
Why, or even, maybe not to that extent with your boys, but I mean, it's really important that we talk about what we're going through as we're aging. So that
Yeah.
way they don't feel so self conscious and they feel empowered as they're going through life and realizing, eh, I don't
Yeah.
need to be so worried about it. I mean, both
Hmm.
my girls, they have more self-confidence than I could have ever even thought of having um, at their ages. I mean, I think it took me until I was in my 40s to have their level of self-confidence, but it's
Hmm.
because I did a lot of work on myself and I just pour it on them.
I love that.
All my therapy, I'm like
Right.
sharing with them, like, this is what I'm learning. This is what I've gone through.
Yes.
This is how I learned
Yeah.
not to do that again. And I
Yeah.
just feel like kids pay more attention to what we do
Hmm.
than outside of the home.
And
Yeah.
you've changed generations of women. I mean, there will be women in your family line that you'll never meet, but they will live better lives because of some of the things, the seeds that you've planted with your daughters.
Something that you wrote, because I feel like my work and your words together
Hmm.
were just like it was magic and it just helped so many thousands of women around the
Yeah.
world. So it was both of us together. I
Yeah.
believe that. And you said, we don't want to be the women. Came from you. Don't try to be the woman that just turns heads. Be
Yeah.
the woman that turns hearts.
Yeah.
It's so true. Like if
Hmm.
we could all just be more okay with who we are
Yeah.
and give ourselves
Yeah.
more grace and learn how to love ourselves more. Like Louise Hay taught me so much. It's just like she said that was the most profound thing that changed her life was really learning how to love yourself.
Yeah. Oh, I remember she
Ongoing
had a
thing.
big impact on you.
She did. She
Yeah.
did. She was like, yeah, like my one of my big teachers for sure.
Yeah.
As well as you. I'm just so grateful for you. And I would love to share, if there's a way that people can follow you and your work. And are there any projects you're working on you want to talk about?
I do a lot these days with Guidepost magazine and their publishing division. If you don't have a subscription to Guidepost, it's like getting a monthly dose of serotonin in your mailbox. And I don't think it comes out every month on the nose, but oh my goodness, the stories in there are so uplifting, and they believe that anything is possible with faith, hope, and prayer. I think I'm getting their motto right. It's one of those magazines, as soon as it comes in, I just read it cover to cover. So I do a lot of work with them. And if anybody wants to get in touch with me, it's really easy. It's just gingergarrett.com.
And
Yeah.
when it comes to, your projects and your books, and I think,
Yeah.
didn't you have a movie interest in movies for one of your books? Is that still?
Yes, it was Brad Pitt. But unfortunately, then he went through a very big divorce and he never called me back. So, Brad, if you're out there, you know the number.
Call back.
I'm still waiting. Come on, Brad.
I mean, of all people in the world, Brad Pitt, lucky girl.
Right?
Wow.
You know what? Yeah, the call came in when I was vacuuming and I was like,
Hurry
but
up, fix
no.
your hair. Yeah.
I guess, yeah, if Angelina's leaving him, there's a chance. No, there was no chance. He's never called back.
Oh my gosh, that's excellent. I love
Yep.
it. Well, I'm excited because you and I have got a project in the works,
Me
so
too.
we can be continued down the road. But
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for you being here today because you're just so
Yeah.
special to me. I absolutely adore you, and the work that you do, not just writing, but helping women and volunteering is just incredible. So thank you so
Well,
much for sharing your light with the world.
well, all the same back to you. Mwah.
Mwah, mwah. Oh my gosh, what a great conversation. I just love that woman. I love her so much. Ginger, thank you so much for bringing your heart and your wisdom to the beauty shift. You're amazing. You remind us that every chapter of our lives can be more courageous, more authentic, and more beautiful than the one before. And if you're listening today and you feel like you've been living inside an old story, this is your sign. You can turn the page, you can write something new, and you can show up in the world with more confidence, expression, and grace. And speaking of more confidence, if you'd like some professional beauty advice in the areas of skincare, makeup, wellness, don't forget to download my free beauty and wellness guides from my website. They are designed to help you look and feel your best. Just go to michellephillips.com and take advantage. And before you go, I want you to remember this. The mirror will always reflect the story you tell it. So make it a good one. I'm Michelle Phillips, and this is The Beauty Shift. See you next time.
I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Keranique, America's #1 hair regrowth system created by women for women. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, please feel free to share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you'd like to receive my free beauty and wellness gifts, just go to my website, michellephillips.com. I also invite you to join my social media community on Facebook and Instagram, Michelle Phillips Beauty.